It's about where you are, how far you are in proximity to the real, say, consciousness or the real one reality that is real. Everything else is in simulation. Because once you take the red pill, there's no choice. Because you know how the matrix works. You know the realities that you're in. Right? So I just want to explain that. So the blue pill is blissful ignorance of illusion. So what that means is like you think that, your wealth, your success, your all those things that, if I do X, Y, and Z, again, that's blissful ignorance. You think that you are going to be completely abundant. If you go marry somebody or can get connected with somebody, or if you, get the next Nobel Prize, or, if you're at the top of your game, you're the epitome of success in your field, and then you feel empty. That's basically an indicator that you swallowed the blue pill. It doesn't give you into, say, the grandness that you are. Again, it pushes you further if you're doing it wrong. I'm not saying, being at the top of your game or being successful is wrong or the opposite of that. It's just where you are in a reality. If you want to create abundance, you want to create it from as close as a possible, say, real reality, or the only reality is that exists. That's the only difference, okay? Those who create it outside of, or further away from the one reality that exists, this is where, again, you're at the top of your game and you're not happy, right? You're successful, you're not happy, right? You have everything in your life, you're not happy. You've got everything in your life, you're so unhappy that you commit suicide because you're so far off where you should be. Right? So in this blue pill, the higher success that you have, success is a magnifier, love is a magnifier, the COVID vaccine, by the way, is a magnifier. It literally tells you or awakens you and tells you, it's like, shit, I'm in the wrong reality. And it's not about, again, physical possessions or anything. It's about where you are, how far you are in proximity to the real, say, consciousness or the real one reality that is real. Everything else is in simulation. So success, for example. So why is that, say, magnifier? So the more success that you have, okay? And you hear it in old people, right? And I work with a lot of, successful individuals, worked with a lot of, older individuals. My father, highly successful. He never once said, and you hear it over and over again, Moss, I wish I had, I wish I created, another $100 million. Or, if one more, all I needed to do was create, another $1 billion and I'd be, heavenly happy, right? They never say that. In fact, I'm working with a couple gentlemen who actually created, the father of, self-improvement and all that, really getting connected with him. And he's saying, it's like, damn, maybe I was wrong. Maybe all this hard work and all this stuff that I taught him as he's gotten older, he's in his 80s, and it's like, damn, maybe that was all wrong. Because he's starting to awaken, again, it's a magnifier and going, that's not the kind of abundance that we're looking for, okay? So that's the reality. So the blue pill, it's blissful ignorance until you start to awaken into abundance. That's not real, okay? It's fiat abundance. Let's just put it that way. Love is fiat abundance. That's why the more you fall in love with somebody, the more you start to become insecure. It's not about your relationship. It's about you stepping away from your real self. Okay? So we cover all those topics. Again, let's get back into the matrix. The red pill. The reason why I say it is basically XI, it's embracing the painful truth of reality. Well, how do I do that? What does that even mean? Well, it's just like Einstein. When Einstein says, for you to find a solution, and your solution is a better life. However you define a better life. To find a better life, to find a better solution, you would have to step out of your reality or step out of the matrix. Okay? Kind of a death experience, literally. That's what I had. I had 2 near-death experiences. Again, it pulled me out of the matrix, and I could see, just like a maze. When you're in the maze, it's pretty hard to see. You can't find the real solution. But when you step out and you look at it, it's like, oh, that's how it all works. And that's how I know how it all works. And that's how I know how I can bend the matrix to your favor. So in the XI series, whether you're doing, the 18-day hyper meditations to transform your life in just 18 days, and it's so powerful, all you have to do is listen. But when you do all those things, literally, I'm pulling you away from, say, that filter or the part of the matrix that you exist in. Because every point in the matrix is a different reality for you. Okay? And as you pull yourself away, the painful truth is that, and let me just draw it out for you. Okay? So take a deep breath in. Let's do a little imagination. So you're point A. So imagine you're point A, that's where you're supposed to be. Okay? That's the one reality that's not simulated. That's point A. Okay? You are literally living in point, say, Z. Okay? Well, not that far, because you'd be really fucked up. Let's say in the middle somewhere, point M. Okay? Point M, point N, whatever. Somewhere outside of where you could be. Again, this is where you're shortchanged and you're living the life that you are. Okay? Again, not your pure potential, not your limitless self. Okay? So then, so what happens, and you could even be blissful here. You could be making a lot of money here, right, in point M. But what happens is, like, I lift you up. And then you are not in the matrix, you're above the matrix. As you go above the matrix, you can actually see, say, on a map, it's like, oh shit, I'm really far off the mark. What the hell did I do, right? Especially if you run abuse patterns, victim patterns, all those things, pain patterns, repeating health issues, whatever it is. And that's why it's painful. And this is where you have to say, confirm your deletions, as I call it, as you see the painful truth on where you are. It's just location, 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 guys. It's got nothing to do on how bad you are, playing karma, all those things that we talk about. It literally is where you're located in the matrix that you are rendering the simulated reality in. That's all it is, okay? And it's very painful because all your life, no matter what you do, by the way, in this reality, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get to that one reality. Again, let me say it again. No matter what you're trying to express in this reality, no matter what it is, making love, making $1 billion, helping the whales, saving the planet, it's got nothing to do with that. The only purpose you do any of that is for you to find that one reality that is real. Everything else is simulated. Okay? So you've invested a lot of time in your life going in a certain direction, right? Or if you've been victimized and all that stuff, and then I elevate you. You see where you are in the maze compared to where you should be. And this is the painful truth. It's like, holy crap. I invested my time, I sacrificed myself, I did this, I've been abused, and all those things, even abuse, people use it, again, he goes, oh, maybe abuse will guide me into understanding my real self. And at some level it does, but most people do it the wrong way. Again, anything that you can, say, experience in the simulation, you can use as a roadmap or as telltale signs to figure out where you are. But most people, again, don't know how to read the roadmap. Okay? So this is literally, or XI is literally, say, your genius GPS. It literally gives you the GPS, just like Google Maps. It's like, you want to get here, you're here. Okay? Once you get through the pain of understanding that you say, just let's just say you fucked up, you're so far off, right? Even if you're successful or not or whatever, you're so far off from where you are, okay? That you see it, once you experience it, that's where XI begins. And that's where your genius GPS, again, starts to come through. It's like, oh, I need to be here. So you're always, say, observing yourself from a higher level of the matrix. And then you know exactly where you are. It's like Google Maps. This is just, again, say XI Maps for, again, the genius you. So you start to get closer and closer and understand yourself. And then you get to experience a closer, say, simulation of the real reality that exists. So that's what the red pill is about. Your detox that you go through, that's the red pill, embracing the painful truth of what you're not. That's simply that. 5, what happens when you break free from the matrix? Well, a couple things. So what I do, again, you don't have to have a near-death experience, okay? Most people wouldn't know how to handle a near-death experience. In fact, most people who do have a near-death experience, they get bound into, say, the distortions or the simulated reality that they exist in even more. And again, they hold on to it. So it's not a good thing. Although you can use anything, again, like a near-death experience, like I did, if you know how to do it right. And by the way, this is what I'm saying. You don't have to have a near-death experience to help me help you, say, bend the matrix like I do. Right? Anybody can do this, by the way. Okay? Or I can teach you. Does it take a lot of time? It depends on how fast you learn. Because once you snap out of the matrix, you're not bound by space and time. That's the cool thing. Because you are connected to your highest version that doesn't run on space and time. You're connected to a limitless version. This is where you break out of the matrix. You can come into a reality where you can heal yourself instantly. Now, there's a lot of people that I've helped that literally get to heal themselves instantly. As a note, I didn't say I heal them, I cure them. I can't do that for you. I can only pull you above so you can look down on the matrix and the realities that you want to exist in, and then you go, oh shit, I want to be there. And you go, oh, okay, plop you there. But then again, just note, just as a caveat, if you're like in point Z and you want to get to point A, it wouldn't be beneficial for you. So again, you want to go from point Z to point, W, and then from W to point N and whatever. Right? You want to create a nice roadmap. You can't go from there to there. You could if you're completely awakened, but you would have to exist in the one reality. And then you could experience all the other realities. And I just want to explain that for you, okay? So when you break free from the matrix, or again, all the other simulated realities, you can dip into all the other realities, even say the so-called negative ones, and experience it, just to experience it. And it doesn't disorient you, because you know who you are. Okay? And that's the cool thing. It's kind of like Westworld, right? You're this individual that wants to experience, getting shot. Whatever that Westworld scenario is about, right? You're an awakened being. It's like, hey, I want to experience this. I want to experience that. So that's what life is really about. But we haven't gotten to that point. We've created this simulation so real that we've forgotten who we really are at a higher level. So as you say, separate from, again, or break free from the matrix, you get to go, oh, I'm really here, okay? And the process is that you're here and you get closer and closer, but as you get close enough here, you can render or experience any other simulations that's available to you, and then get back and go, wow, that was cool, okay? And the cool thing about it is, in the past, you can only experience, say, one simulation in a lifetime. Right? With XI, many of you have done this. Your whole life transforms, right? You can experience, say, multiple simulations in one lifetime. Many of you are experiencing that. Many of you are aging younger. Many of you are healing yourself from diseases, like lifetime diseases, all that. Those are all different realities or different simulations that you can exist in. So it's really, really cool. If you break free too far, though, well, you're in a death space. So, and it depends on where you are or how or what simulation you exist in, or you're rendering yourself at the time of the death space. So death is supposed to, say, pull you out while you're still connected to the reality, okay, of your death. You look up and you go, shit, I shouldn't be here, I should be over there. So it awakens you, or in, say, religious terms, say, forgives you for the sins. Again, the sin is actually off. The original definition means off the mark, off the reality that you should be in. So in a real, say, in a awakened life, death experience, you pull apart from your identity. You're still there, okay? Just like I do with XI. I literally pull you apart, have you hover where you are, safer because, again, I'm helping you, say, maintain your stability while you're disconnected. And that's why many of you feel like unsure of yourself, you kind of feel like in a death space, right? For those who are really abused and all that stuff, it's an unsecured death space. For those who haven't been abused and you see the vibrancy of life, right? The possibilities of life, you get euphoric. Again, that's all up to you. But as you clean up, again, all will feel that euphoric experience. But as you separate, you get to see it's like, oh shit, I should be here. And again, that here is basically what's defined as heaven. So the real one reality that exists. Okay? And then, and you'll step into that. And again, it's heaven. So in that's an awakened death scenario. If you're not awakened, you break free from the matrix. You break free, you snap. Okay? You disconnect from that cord of time and space, and then sometimes you might get stuck. So again, in the reality, just a higher version of it. Okay? A higher version without space and time. This is where like suicide patients, suicide victims and so on like that, they'll reclaim or relive the last few moments of their life forever. They'll just literally just render that simulation without a body. Okay? It's like it's a glitch in the matrix, basically. It's not really a glitch. We just don't know how to die properly. So that's what happens when you break free from the matrix. And there's so many more possibilities. Again, hopefully this explains what the real matrix is about. And hopefully this explains on how I bend the matrix for you so you can live your ultimate life. And then also for those individuals who are interested, the lecture series that is coming up, we've got the Brilliant Minds. Okay? You can tap in, for example, the Brilliant Minds. This is what's really cool, because I talked about where we are now. Let me just take a few minutes to the possibilities of the matrix. So imagine that you know who your limitless self is and where it's located. Because again, it's a spatial referencing, right? It's a point of reference in time and space. It has to. You start to tap into your superhuman abilities, or what would be considered superhuman abilities, but in reality, it's your full potential that you are. Okay? So what happens is that you start to, say, perpetuate and get closer and closer, and as you do, more realities can be recreated. More, say, simulated realities of possibilities. And this is where you step into, say, a different layer, or basically a consciousness, as I call it, where the rules of the game are different, or even you're playing a very different rule. Say, in that reality, part of the same matrix, because time and space are still the same. In that reality, there's more potential for you. You don't have to sacrifice, you don't have to destroy, you don't have to do that stuff to gain abundance, to understand who you are. Okay? So you start to eliminate all, say, the limited realities or the broken realities that you can create, and then you can go into the potentiality of living, say, your superhuman abilities. And some of you who have kind of gone through that process or getting through that process, you know how grand that feels, right? It's pretty cool, huh? And this is where, again, instant healing can come in through. You can, say, vaporize and then regenerate yourself. So there's no death anymore because there's no need for death. You don't have to decay. You can literally, say, vaporize, come into a higher frequency, again, than one reality, and then if you want, you can render in another reality, or from this reality, consciousness, or step into, say, another aspect of the matrix, another part of the matrix where even cooler possibilities for you can exist. All right, so hopefully that explains the matrix and what the matrix is really about. The guys I've seen the Matrix movies, they really do a really clean, fantastic job on that's my daily job. I wouldn't consider it a job, but that's what I do daily, guys. I dive into the matrix, bend the matrix for people, and that's how they feel better. You can do it too. So, but my point is that they really did do a good job of, say, showing what the possibilities or how the matrix works. So I'm excited to see the Matrix 4 movie. We can talk more about it as it comes out. Okay? As we end, guys, notice what you notice. Notice the details. Peace.